So now that we reviewed the Buffalo Trace White Dog weeded mash that I picked up in New Orleans, let's review the other White Dog that I picked up in New Orleans. This is one which has a mash bill that I'm much more familiar with. We're going to review Buffalo Trace White Dog mash bill number 1. So even though I enjoy a good weeded bourbon and certainly, enjoy the Wellers that I've tried and the Buffalo Trace kosher weeded recipe, the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1 and all the expressions along that line, I'm much more familiar with, and just my palate just knows that taste profile so well. So that's why this is going to be particularly interesting. So this, again, is the raw, unaged mash bill. Mash bill number 1 is Buffalo Trace's low rye mash bill. It doesn't say the percentages, but it is, basically you have your corn, you have your rye, and you have your malted barley. The weeded one said just barley for some reason. This is, the regular corn, rye, malted barley, rye being the secondary grain, and supposedly it's a low rye mash bill, under 10%. We just don't know specifically what that is. And this is before this ever touches a barrel. And what's amazing to me about this particular mash bill, it's just got all all my favorites. This, once put in a barrel, becomes the benchmark line, all different types of proofs, but it becomes the benchmark line in about 3 to 4 years. It becomes the Buffalo Trace flagship 7 to 8 years. It becomes the Eagle Rare 10 years. And the one that I think we're gonna put this up against, just for laughs, the Stag here. This is mash bill number 1 too. This is 129.8 proof. This is 125 proof, so I think this will be a good match. Obviously, this is not going to get better than this, but proof-wise, it's similar, and this becomes this, and that's what's fascinating. So we're going to review this on its own, then I'm going to put it next to Stag, and we're going to see how much about that one we don't know exactly, but see 7 to 9 years of aging. Here we go. If you want to pause to read the back. Okay, so we got this mash bill number 1, Buffalo Trace White Dog, poured up. Just amazing seeing what this looks like before it ever touches a barrel. Incredible. Looks again like any other unaged spirit, whether that be, vodka, gin, an unaged tequila. So really, really nice. This, I have a feeling, I can already tell, not only is it going to be stronger than the other White Dog, the weeded White Dog is 114. This is 125 proof. Like the equivalent of we'll call it a full proof. This is what it was going into the barrel at, which would be this. If it was left as this, that would be a full proof bourbon, 125. That'll match up nice with the Stag at 129.8. So let's give this a nose. Okay, now comparing this to the weeded, I am just getting a real dose of sweetness here. I can tell there's that raw ethanol smell in there. Again, the other thing was sweetness and ethanol. I think this is going to be a lot of the same, just a little stronger. But let's see how this tastes in comparison to the other White Dog. Cheers. Oh, wow, this is strong. Interestingly enough, as I kind of expected that, even though I always say I'm a weeded bourbon guy, this mash bill number 1 is just so familiar to me throughout the line of all the ones I've tried. I'm getting that on this, but this is just raw. It is strong. Just like the other White Dog, this 125, these, when they are this way, they're not drinking below their proof at all. They're drinking anything above it. This is a really raw, strong 125. I mean, this just feels like, it feels like more of that. Oh, it feels like more than that. But I can taste a lot more than I did with the weeded. I'm also much more familiar with this. I could see how this does become this, not necessarily this, but any of the others. It's almost like I taste the building blocks of what it's going to become with this raw recipe. This one, actually, for some reason, I like this a little better than the Buffalo Trace White Dog weeded mash bill. I'm just maybe more familiar with it. It just reminds me of what is to come. All right. So I know this is going to be no contest. Let's put this against the Stag. Here we go. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So we have these poured up side by side. This becomes this, and a whole bunch of other of the Buffalo Trace mash bill #1 bottles, but incredible. So you figure this is unaged. This is not specified. They say it's at least 4 years, but they say it's more in the line of around 7 to 9 years, roughly. I mean, look what a barrel does. And this is so many more improvements to this, where the barrel's located, warehouse, all that stuff. So let's go through this, do this, and then do this. Cheers. Cheers. The barrel just does so much to this. There's just so much flavor. Aside from the color, obviously, so much flavor that is imparted by the barrel in this one and all of them, but especially this one, that just is not here. But this is the building block for this. And without this, you wouldn't have this. And that's really the bottom line. Let's do this once more. This one, White Dog. Stag. And it's funny, it could be my imagination, but even though this is 129.8 proof, this is 125, I feel like this is drinking hotter. It's just this raw, really hot 125. This is 129, but it's just there's something a little bit more rounded out, mellow, that's just not raw. It's just more sophisticated, refined. Just a lot of good things that happen in the barrel. So we may even another video, I might even just put the two White Dogs next to each other. I can tell at this point that I do like this one better of the two. Again, I didn't buy this because, wow, I just want to kind of be sipping this neat and, expect these are going to be great. I did it because this is interesting to me, and I could never find these anywhere, but I like to see what does the spirit taste like before it ever goes in a barrel. This is just meant to do experiments. When I saw these, I had to get it. So really happy I got this. Of the two of them, I think this is my favorite of the two White Dogs. But man, what a difference. 7 to 9 years of aging, warehouse, barrel selection, and just a whole lot of other things that are imparted to make this, or Buffalo Trace, or Eagle Rare, or E.H. Taylor, or Benchmark, or any of the others. Just amazing. Cheers.